We got some really bad news, Saints fans, as there's a lot of injuries in New Orleans. Currently, we have 3 major pieces of the Saints offense missing this week against the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football. I'm going to go into all of the injury news, and I'm going to go into everything you need to know, what to expect on Thursday Night Football. But quick reminder, be sure to subscribe and lock us in for more updates, more injury news, more trade rumors, everything in between, because right now, as it stands, this Saints season is going downhill very fast, and we're going to break down everything that happens. And on top of that, we're actually going to be live here in a couple of hours, so be sure to subscribe and join us and hang out, get updated around everything with the New Orleans Saints. But let's talk all about it. So the first thing, wide receiver 1, Chris Olave. Obviously, last week, early in the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he took a screen pass from Spencer Rattler, and he got hit pretty hard. Should have been a head-to-head hit. Should have been a penalty, if you ask me. I thought it was a dirty play, but, I'm not the one throwing the flags. I'm not the one making the decisions in the league. That's Roger Goodell and the officiating crew. That all being said, he's out. Should have seen that one coming. Could have seen that one coming. Not necessarily surprising that Chris Olave is going to be missing this game with a concussion. Obviously, he was ruled out very early in that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but him not being around for rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler is a big-time problem for the New Orleans Saints, especially considering they're going up against a defense that statistically this past season has been pretty solid, especially against the pass. So with Spencer Rattler not having his wide receiver 1, who's he going to lean on? It's not Rashid Shaheed. His wide receiver 2 is also going to be out. We have some really important updates around Rashid Shaheed. So Rashid Shaheed, originally it was believed it was like a knee injury or whatever. So he is getting meniscus surgery on Thursday. That's tomorrow. We're filming this Wednesday afternoon around 3 p.m. Central Time. So he will undergo surgery on his meniscus, and depending on how that surgery goes, he could be a candidate to land on the injured reserve list. He could also be a player that we don't see the rest of the season. Maybe he could return sooner rather than later. We have to see how this surgery goes tomorrow whenever he gets it. So Adam Schefter reporting that sources Saints wide receiver Rashid Shaheed's meniscus surgery Thursday is now expected to determine whether he will be sidelined multiple weeks or for the rest of the season. That coming in from Schefter. Dennis Allen reporting that as well. Not reporting, but he said that he was going to be getting meniscus surgery. So really, really bad news around the Saints offense. And when you're at your top 2 performers on the offensive side of the ball, that is not a recipe for success. So you're going to have to look to lean on players like, I hate to say, you only have, 3 healthy wide receivers on your roster right now. You have Cedric Wilson, Bub Means, and Mason Tipton. Those are your only 3 wide receivers because the Saints did waive A.T. Perry. I guarantee you right now, the Saints were sitting here thinking, damn, wish we still had A.T. Perry right now because we could really be using him. And I'm over here in the camp of letting him leave in the first place, cutting him or waiving him, whatever you want to call it, letting him leave the building and not be a part of this team. Right now, this is why that was a stupid decision, because now you are completely depleted in the pass catcher room. You have 3-4 options on the practice squad in Jermaine Jackson, Equinemius St. Brown, who, to be honest, St. Brown has never really been that great of a wide receiver. You have Kevin Austin Jr., who hasn't really been that great of a player. My whole point being, your offense is going to be hurting. And you should not, as a Saints fan, have high expectations for this Saints offense against the Denver Broncos. They might be missing a couple of players due to injuries as well, but that is not nearly as important as the players that the New Orleans Saints are missing. You're out your starting quarterback. You're out pretty much your entire offensive line. You are out your top 2 wide receivers. You're out, or your leading running back is dealing with a broken hand, broken ribs, and a hip injury. Taysom Hill, he's doubtful to play with the hope that he can play next week in week 8. So obviously with Taysom Hill, you would love to see him on the field. But he is doubtful to play this week, and I'm still in the camp of it's not really worth rushing getting him back to injury because at the end of the day, the New Orleans Saints are likely going to be struggling anyway and losing a lot of football games as the season continues to progress. So with Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave specifically, we'll get to Taysom Hill in a little bit more in just a second. But when you're missing out on those two players, it's not good. And when you're starting a rookie quarterback, it doesn't matter if it's Jake Haener, it doesn't matter if it's Spencer Rattler. Hell, I don't care if you have Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, whoever the hell you want to be the QB. Doesn't really matter. Right now, this team is going to be struggling. This team will not do well because they have no weapons. All of the weapons that they have are hurt. You don't have your starting line. You don't have your starting quarterback. Like, this is not a recipe for success. This is not what teams who go on deep playoff runs have to deal with. Sure, maybe they deal with it, but then they all get healthy and they're all back and they're making a run late in the season. I will say, fortunately, in terms of the injuries, silver lining, I'm a believer there always is one. Maybe, just maybe, the injuries happened early enough in the season, and maybe, just maybe, you can get some of these big, key parts of your offense back on the field. Getting Eric McCoy back immediately improves your offensive line. It immediately makes things a lot better. You get Taysom Hill back, you have the best offensive weapon in the National Football League back. You get Chris Olave back, a top-tier, in my opinion, wide receiver. You get Rashid Shaheed back, a player who we know how dangerous it is when he can get vertical and he can stretch the field. So the New Orleans Saints are going to have to find a way to replace not those players, but that production. So how is that going to happen? Well, with Taysom Hill being out, or being doubtful, I should say, Bub Means and Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau, y'all better get ready to learn, catch the damn ball, because, oh my goodness, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of run for all three of those players. But not to mention for Mason Tipton as well. This is a good chance for both of these young players to earn a lot of extra credibility and earn more playing time and prove to the team that they are a good part of this offense and that they should be around for the extended future. Now, with Bub Means, he was impressive. He was impressive against Tampa Bay. You cannot deny that. I thought he was good. I want to see more, though. I need to see better production from Bub Means. So I want to ask you this question really quick. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to take a quick sip of water, but let me know your thoughts. Who is a player that you think has to step up this week? I'm going to give you a name that maybe you didn't think about here in just a second. So I'm going to take a sip of water, answer the question, just take a quick second, let your boy hydrate. All right. I will also apologize, kind of dealing with a little bit of a cough. Maybe I sound a little sick. It's not really feeling great, but I'll tell you right now, I'm feeling a lot better than the Saints injury report. To be quite honest, 32% of your roster being on the injury report this week is just a testament to how bad the injury problem has been in New Orleans this year. And so for a player that needs to step up, it's a player who's been on the injury report. It's been a player who we haven't seen yet this season. It's a player we haven't really seen a lot of. It's Kendre Miller. I don't want to. I need to see Kendre Miller take over. I need to see Kendre Miller prove that he is a capable running back. I need to see Kendre Miller be a dominant force on the Saints offense. There is not a lot of options. Clint Kubiak, you're going to have to figure it out. It sucks. Bad cards dealt, no doubt. But good teams and quality coaches and good squads figure it out. Can the New Orleans Saints figure it out? I don't know. I certainly wouldn't be able to figure it out if I was the head coach right now. But that's why I'm not a head coach in the National Football League. Dennis Allen, Clint Kubiak, you're going to have to make something happen here. No matter what the issues are, no matter what the injuries are, you have to find a way to still put up a capable and honestly promising football game. The Denver Broncos are not the best team in the league. The Denver Broncos are not a team you should be scared of. They're a team you should respect. They're a team that isn't just going to let you walk all over them. And especially considering how injured and beat up you are, this is a team that you're going to have to be aware of. We all know Sean Payton's going to come ready to play, or with his team ready to play, excuse me. We all know Sean Payton is going to do everything in his power to exploit the weaknesses on the New Orleans Saints roster. But when it comes down to the injuries, the three main ones, Rashid Shaheed and his knee injury getting meniscus surgery, Taysom Hill, he is doubtful, and Chris Olave out with a concussion. It's not a good look for the New Orleans Saints. Not a good situation whatsoever. I'm just scrolling through Twitter, making sure I'm not missing any updates for you guys. John Hendricks reporting that today was the final practice for the Saints this week. Obviously, they played Thursday Night Football, so everything kind of moves up a couple of days in the week for them. Pete Werner, Rashid Shaheed, Colin Saunders, Cesar Ruiz, Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, and Chris Olave were among names that were not available at practice today. So, unfortunately, we might be out with those three players, but unfortunately, you also might not see Pete Werner. You might not see Cesar Ruiz. This is just a really unfortunate situation, a really unfortunate circumstance. And I'm not one to sit here and say that this is the medical staff's fault because I'm not going to point fingers in that regard. But what is going on in New Orleans to result in this many injuries this regularly every single year in, year out? What is happening in New Orleans? What is going on? What's different in Louisiana that's different than all 32 other clubs in the National Football League? Something's weird. Something's not right. And to be quite honest, I'm not happy with how things are going in New Orleans. The season, it seems to be off the rails entirely. It doesn't seem like there's much coming back from it at this point, especially considering how major some of these injuries are. But, hey, man, we got a lot of football left to get through, and we have a lot of games left to play. So this is why you subscribe. A reminder, we're going to be live here in about an hour and a half. And then on top of that, we'll be live tomorrow, Thursday Night Football, to watch this absolute this is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough one. We're going to have the real fans are going to be watching this game. So hopefully I can see you guys there. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.